Over the course of this video and the next, we'll look at step 3 of my Tarot Tableau reading method, your focal points. This step brings more clarity and specificity to your reading, building off of the broader picture given in the first 2 steps. If you haven't watched my earlier videos, you should definitely do so. In this first part of step 3, we'll be looking at natural house card matches. These provide important touch points and messages for the querent. And in the next video for step 3, we'll look at house card pairs of interest. That's where some of the querent's questions may be sought out if they aren't covered by earlier parts of the reading. We'll be looking at a new querent today, also named Q. Q didn't have a specific query, so it was truly a general reading. Although the result was indeed general, Q knew immediately what it was about, and that's what matters most. As a reminder, we're breezing through the first 2 steps to get to step 3, your focal points. So hang on tight. You can see the cards in Q's spread here, starting with the Tower in the House of the Fool, and ending with the Emperor in the House of the World. If you've been practicing these techniques, even with fake querents, you can quickly spot the cards needed for step 1, the arc of your journey. We have the Tower in the House of the Fool, and the Emperor in the House of the World. We also have the Fool in the House of the Magician, and the World in the House of the Hermit. Based on these 4 cards, I would say that this journey has come about from a recent period of personal challenge or significant upset, but it's leading toward a point of calm and control over the source of the shakeup. Right now, Q should be focused on self and the kind of re-evaluation that the Tower often forces. It's very internal work, with a current focus on self in relation to others' rules and expectations. This period develops the Hermit's unique ability to care for oneself and to help others find their way while not losing oneself in the process. The heart of the tableau, step 2 of my method, shows the Hierophant in the House of Strength, surrounded by the Moon and Devil below and above, respectively, and Death and the World to the left and right, respectively. The Hierophant reinforces the idea of learning from the Magician and Hermit, and structure from the Emperor, but I also had the idea of listening. The Hierophant is associated with the physical sense of learning in Kabbalah, and that seemed like an important contrast to the internal focus of step 1. Connecting to community and understanding how others are handling their role in this shakeup is critical for Q to make the most of this period in their life. It's a stable center point that helps provide the endurance and passion needed to engage with this challenging situation. Without such a center, Q might find it hard to shift from a tower crisis to the personal control and planned approach to life that the Emperor embodies. Looking below and above the central card, we see what Q can do to make the most of this Hierophant energy. With the Moon below leading to the Devil above, the cards advise Q to expose fantasies and delusions in order to really look at them for all of their good, bad, and ugly details. Looking from left to right around the Hierophant, we see an opportunity to take what has ended and use it to step through into a new beginning. With Death leading to the World, this isn't just transformation, but evolution. The time is coming for Q to step out of the normal cycle and do something bigger. Now, the last part of the heart of the tableau is to look at the Fool in relation to the heart. Since the Fool is to the left and above, there's an upcoming opportunity to bring out something hidden that will help energize and stabilize this period of evolution. Finally, we're ready for step 3, Q's focal points. The first part of this step is to look for house card pairings and linking matches. What are those, you ask? A house card pairing is when a major arcanum card is in its own major house. A linking match is when a major arcanum card isn't in its own major house, but you can connect it back to its house through a few other cards. The fewer the cards in the chain, the more concentrated the message. Once you have 3 to 7 cards, you're usually looking at a keyword-based sentence that provides overall advice. Here, I'll show you some with Q's spread. First, we look to see if there are any natural house card pairings. Is the Fool in the House of the Fool, the Magician in the House of the Magician, and so on. We see here in Q's spread that the Star is in the House of the Star. That's a significant indication that the Star's energy and associations are critical for Q at this time. Keeping the earlier parts of the reading in mind, I see the Star as a celestial evolution of the Hermit, an area where Q can evolve. Setting their sights on big ideas, Q can really stretch how they may be thinking about their situation, as well as how they find the light within the darkness. Bigger picture goal setting and hope for the future is how Q can get the most out of this Tower to Emperor transition. Q also has 3 chains of cards that link together through their house card combinations: a 2-card pair, a 5-card string, and a chain that is too long to be useful to interpret in this context. The first is a 2-card pair, the Empress in the house of the Devil and the Devil in the house of the Empress. Because they are in each other's house, the energies of these cards may be blended or in dialogue. Thinking in terms of their keywords, we can understand that there's a difficult past relationship with a woman who won't just stay in the past where Q would like her. This relationship requires Q's attention right now because it's important to their current journey. It probably won't be someone that Q wants to deal with, and it may not be necessary to actually engage with the person. However, Q must engage with that relationship in order to be able to plan for the future in a way that puts some power back in Q's hands. The 5-card string is the perfect length for making a complex sentence using keywords. This string starts with the Fool in the house of the Magician, before moving to the Tower in the house of the Fool, Justice in the house of the Tower, and the Hanged Man in the house of Justice, and then ending with the Magician in the house of the Hanged Man. Fool, Tower, Justice, Hanged Man, Magician. The Fool is the significator for this spread, so the Fool plus the Tower makes me think of pent-up energy ready to burst free. Justice offers a balancing and rational approach. The Hanged Man is all about new perspectives born of pain or discomfort, and the Magician puts what he wants out into the universe. Together, this suggests that Q take the current buildup of energy inside of them and temper it with reason, so that they're able to appreciate the situation from all sides, enough to get uncomfortable, before being ready to take purposeful next steps in a thoughtful way. Remember that we're using keywords to come up with a sentence or sequence of keywords that provide guidance for this journey. Which keywords you use and where you start that sentence will be up to your understanding of the situation and your intuition. I find it useful to start with the card for which I want to get some direction. If the Fool is part of the chain, the Fool is almost always the starting point. If not the Fool, it may be the card in the house of the Fool, or the Heart. It could also be an archetype with which the querent resonates, such as the Hermit if I'm doing a reading for myself. And of course, if I have any specific concerns, I might look to a card that represents those concerns as either the starting point or the end point. Whatever my starting point, I find the next card in the house associated with the first card's arcanum. That's because the houses are always in the same order, so it's easier to quickly find a house than it is to find a specific card in the spread. But play around and see what works best for you. The final chain of cards is 14 long. That's more than half the cards, so it's too much to be useful. I suggest sticking with 5 or fewer cards in a chain to start, but you can definitely do more. I sometimes read 8 and 9 card sequences, but I think that 7 is usually a good stopping point for even experienced readers. Any more and things can get too muddled. To sum it all up, Q has recently experienced a period of personal challenge or significant upset, but it's leading to their ability to gain control over the source of the shakeup. Q should focus on self and reevaluating self in relation to others' rules. This helps them develop their ability to guide self and to help others find their way without losing one's own way. Connecting to community and understanding others' place in all this will help Q find the stability needed to make the most of this challenging period. To do so, Q is advised to expose fantasies and delusions in order to really understand them for better or worse. There will soon be an opportunity for Q to take something that has ended and use it to evolve on a personal level. During all of this, Q is encouraged to keep their attention on the big picture and the long-term implications of this temporary upset. It may seem dark now, but there is something bright and powerful in the distance. That should help put things into perspective as a difficult past relationship with a woman refuses to stay in the past. Because Q is expected to deal with the relationship, it may be the catalyst for Q's evolution. Last, Q is encouraged to take a more objective view of the difficult situation and try to understand it from all angles. Doing so may cause discomfort, but it is what will ultimately lead Q to reclaim personal power in both the material and spiritual realms. Whew! It all starts to add up, doesn't it? We're not done yet though, because there's a little bit left to step 3, but in some ways it's the easiest part. You'll see it soon in the 5th video, which closes out the first half of this series. The first half covers the basic steps to completing a reading using my Tarot Tableau method, and then we'll see some advanced techniques and alternative considerations. But that'll be later. Stay tuned.